So now we're going to look at Unit 4 for our final exam revision. Now a lot of these questions are true-false and they deal with the total cost line and the total revenue line. In order to solve for this, we're actually going to start by graphs in approximation of what they look like. So we have one value, we have another value. Now the y-axis is always dirhams and the x-axis is your quantity. So when you're looking at capacity, you will hit a certain point, which is your maximum, meaning your capacity. Okay, this point right here is the origin. So let's go ahead and look at our two graphs. The first graph is our cost. Now, our cost is really quite interesting because it starts somewhere up on the dirham amount, and it goes up. So the total cost graph is easy to identify because the total cost graph will always have a fixed cost, or someplace that it starts on the line. Now, the next graph is going to be my total revenue graph. And my total revenue graph is also pretty easy to identify because it will start at the origin. Now, these two graphs intersect at a point known as the break-even point. Anything before that point is counted as a loss. And anything after this point is counted as profit. And the way that you figure out the profit or the loss is by looking at the difference between the total cost and the total revenue. So let's go ahead and start by reading the questions. The slope of the total cost line. Now remember, slope is the amount of change or the angle on the graph. The slope of the total cost line is the fixed cost. No, the fixed cost is only one cost that you accrue. So that is false. The total revenue line passes through the origin. Well, yes, that's where it starts, so that's true. The total cost line passes through the origin. No, you always have a fixed cost, so that's false. The slope of the total revenue line is the selling price. Well, we know that for total revenue, that's going to equal our selling price times our quantity. With total cost, it's going to equal the buying cost times the quantity plus the fixed costs. Okay, so the slope of the total revenue line is the selling price. That is true. The minimum total cost on the graph is 0. Okay, so the minimum total cost of the TC graph is 0. So if we go down, if this is the maximum, then the minimum would be nothing. Is that 0? No, because total cost has a fixed cost to begin with. So this is false. So by simply being able to draw this graph and read it appropriately, you will very quickly be able to determine what is true and what is false on the final exam when it comes to total revenue and total cost.